Hey, it's Rory, and I just came back from the Oppo Find X2 series launch in Malaysia, the launch event. Okay, maybe it's more like a viewing party because we all just like sat around the TV and watched the live stream, which was already available on Facebook. But anyway, what a smartphone, right? Here's everything you need to know about it. So I think we all remember like the original Oppo Find X, right? It was like this wacky smartphone with the top that could like hide the cameras and like go up and down, and like, you know, the reason why it had those hidden cameras was because Oppo wanted to make like this crazy screen to body ratio display and this beautiful unbroken dual curve display up front, so you don't have like punch holes or notches or ugly things like that. And they did, like, it was really cool. But if you're thinking that the Find X2 will be more that kind of smartphone, then I'm sorry, but it's not. In fact, this smartphone looks more like Oppo wants to just like compete at the top end with the big boys. But the thing about competing with the top end at the big boys and pushing sales like that is that your smartphone needs to be like really good. It needs to have like all the features, all the specs, and you know, all the stuff that makes like an expensive smartphone expensive. And the thing is, if you look at the spec sheet, it kind of looks like the Find X2 definitely has all of that. So there are two Find X2 smartphones. You've got the Find X2 and the Find X2 Pro, and both of these smartphones are powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 processor. That's the most powerful processor that Qualcomm makes right now. It's their flagship processor, and I believe these two are the first smartphones in Malaysia to have this processor. On top of that, this smartphone is also powered by 12 gigs of RAM. So you've got 12 gigs of LPDDR5 memory, and then you've also got 256 gigs of UFS 3.0 storage on the Find X2, and 512 gigs of UFS 3.0 storage on the Find X2 Pro. Now, I'm not pointing any fingers or saying anything. I guess I am saying something, but I'm just saying that that's 4 times more storage than what you get on Samsung's Galaxy S20 Ultra. You know? Samsung? Hello? But I think the first thing that people will notice and probably maybe be wowed by is that front display. So both smartphones have a nice 6.7-inch display, which is like a good size. It's big without being too big. But the cool thing about it is that it is a Quad HD OLED panel. So that means it's pushing a resolution of 3168 by 1440. That gives you like over 500 pixels per inch, which is crisp. And then on top of that, this screen is also 120 Hz capable. Like, it can support a 120 Hz refresh rate, so you get that really smooth like action when you're scrolling around, when you're doing stuff that needs smooth, fast refresh rate screens. On top of that, there's also like this auto mode that like intelligently detects when to switch to like the high refresh rate mode and the not so high refresh rate mode. And the best thing is you can do Quad HD at 120 Hz, which is nice. Besides that, I mean, like, it's like a really cool screen. Okay, it has a 1200 nits peak brightness in HDR. It's like 800 max brightness in like conventional situations. You got 5 million to 1 contrast ratio. You can display 100% of the DCI-P3 color gamut. So like, it's a good screen. Also, it's apparently it's factory color calibrated. So, you know, it's like out of the box, it's gonna be like probably the only part that's like the only spec that's like a bit like is the battery. So the Find X2 Pro has a 4260 mAh battery, while the Find X2 has a 4200 mAh battery. Now I say because I mean, it's not quite as big as like the S20 Ultra, but it is still like a reasonably sized battery for a flagship smartphone. So I mean, it should be able to last you through the day, but you know, for like a Quad HD panel with 120 Hz refresh rate, like, I would have liked to see a bigger battery, maybe 4500, maybe 5000 mAh. That would be dope. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, a lot of, like, when it comes to battery life, a lot of that comes down to optimization. So I don't know how good Oppo is with all of that just yet. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But you know, Oppo does make up for that with the fact that it has one of the fastest fast charging standards that I've ever seen. So it supports, the Find X2 and Find X2 Pro supports Oppo's new SuperVOOC 2.0 flash charging, which is a fast charging standard that pushes out 65 watts. According to Oppo, with this fast charging standard, you can fully charge your smartphone, that 4,260 mAh battery, in just 38 minutes. That is less time than it takes me to get out of the shower. But you know, there is one downside where this smartphone doesn't actually support wireless charging. And I know, like, for a lot of you, like, if a flagship doesn't support wireless charging, it's like, ugh. But you know, for me, it's just like, I'm okay with that. But now we get to the other big thing. So the first big thing was the screen. Now the other big thing is the camera system. Specifically, the camera system on the Oppo Find X2 Pro, because there is some variance between the Pro and the non-Pro version. So we're going to talk about the Pro version first. This smartphone has a triple camera setup at the back. I know it sounds like, what? 3 cameras only? But it's quite a capable system. So for the main camera, the triple camera setup, you're getting a wide-angle camera, you're getting a telephoto camera, and you're getting an ultra-wide-angle camera. So the main wide-angle camera, that is a 48 megapixel sensor, but it is no normal sensor. It is a custom sensor that Oppo developed with Sony. It is the Sony IMX689, and it is quite impressive because as a 48 megapixel sensor, it actually has pretty large pixels. So each pixel is like 1.12 microns, whereas usually like your 48 megapixel sensor, you're getting like 0.8 microns. So bigger pixels means it lets in more light, and then obviously it's capable of 4-in-1 pixel binning, so you get like a even bigger, super duper big pixel, but I don't think it's quite as big as the one that's on the Galaxy S20 Ultra. Still, the sensor itself is like 1/1.43 inches, I believe, which is, you know, quite big for a smartphone, and apparently it's really good in low light. In fact, Oppo has also developed like their own like ultra dark mode, which is like they showed in the display, right? There was like a 2 scenes. So one with ultra dark on and one with ultra dark off. So the one with ultra dark off was just like a black screen, and then the one with ultra dark on was like a rainbow. Does that actually mean that it's that good? I don't know. We'll have to see. Then there's obviously super night mode, or I can't remember if it's super night mode or ultra night mode, but night mode version 2 or version 3 is supposed to be even better. I'm excited to try it out, but you know, I'm still gonna be like a little bit on the fence about that. Moving on, you've got the ultra wide angle camera, which is another 48 megapixel sensor. This is the conventional like 48 megapixel sensor, so I believe it's the IMX586. You're already very familiar with this. So the nice thing is that, you know, there shouldn't be that much variance between the main camera and the ultra wide, but again, that remains to be seen with like a proper camera comparison. Finally though, you have the zoom lens. So the zoom lens is no ordinary telephoto lens. It is actually using a periscope design. So, you know, periscope means that you get to zoom even further because there's more space, bigger focal length, so you get to reach further. This smartphone supports 10 times hybrid zoom, which is pretty solid, pretty impressive. It's very similar to what we saw on the Reno 10 times. And then it also goes all the way to 60 times max zoom with like digital cropping, though, you know, it's not quite 100 times, yes, but 60 times is still like pretty far. But you know, genuinely, I would probably only use 10 times. Then over on the Find X2, you've got like a slightly watered down setup. So you've got the 48 megapixel main sensor. This is the IMX586. It's not the custom sensor that's on the X2 Pro. And then you've got a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, and then you've got a 13 megapixel telephoto, but this time there's no periscope, so that means it only does 5 times hybrid zoom and like 20 times max zoom. I mean, it's still okay, but it's not quite the Pro's sort of level of reach. And then we've got the other flagship feature sort of rounding up this already quite impressive smartphone. You've got IP68 water resistance on the Pro version. The normal one doesn't have IP68, unfortunately, but I believe like this is one of the first Oppo smartphones with IP68 water resistance, which is good. And then you've got stereo speakers tuned with Dolby Atmos, and let me just say that they sound pretty good considering the size of the hole that they cut out for the speaker. Very impressive. It also supports 5G, both SA and non-SA architectures. It also has Bluetooth 5.1 and Wi-Fi 6 support, so you know it's like got all the bells and whistles lah. And finally, it of course has the premium sort of flagship level build. In fact, I have one right here, so if you'll pass me the Find X2 Pro. This is the Find X2 Pro. This is one of the 2 back options. So this one, the orange one, this is vegan leather. Doesn't smell like cows. Is that how they make vegan leather? And then the other version is the black version, which is actually like a ceramic back, which I didn't get to see, but it's like quite exciting also. But unfortunately, like the normal Find X2 doesn't have like the leather version. It's just glass, but it's still premium. Like it's a nice build. It feels like an expensive smartphone, and I think you know, for doing that and being able to keep up with the big boys, I think that's like a pretty good thing. But I mean, I will say that I'm not a fan of this very, very generic looking design. Like if it's on the table like that, like what phone is it? You don't know. It looks like every other smartphone. Oh, one thing I did forget to mention, there is a punch hole at the top here. There is a punch hole at the top here. This has a 32 megapixel selfie camera, so that's the same camera for both the Pro and non-Pro version. But yeah, that's it. That's pretty much everything you need to know about the Oppo Find X2 series as far as specs is concerned. Now let's talk about the price. We don't know how much they will cost in Malaysia, unfortunately. But in Europe, the Find X2 will retail for 999 euros, whereas the Find X2 Pro will retail for 1,199 euros. Now, I don't have the conversion off the top of my head, but I think you can do that too with the calculator app. Although we don't know how much it will be priced in Malaysia just yet, Oppo Malaysia has opened the pre-orders for both the X2 and X2 Pro. So the X2 will have its pre-order run from today, the 6th of March, until the 13th of March, whereas the X2 Pro will have it run from today, the 6th of March, until the 20th of March. And if you pre-order this smartphone, so in order to do that, you need to go to the Oppo Malaysia website, pay 300 ringgit, it's a non-refundable deposit, and then you'll be able to pick up the smartphone then on the day, on the 14th of March, you can go to the roadshow and pick up your Find X2, the non-Pro version, by paying the rest, and then you get the phone and also the freebies. Oh, did I mention that the pre-order comes with freebies? Yeah, it comes with freebies. So you get like a VOOC power bank, I believe. You get a 1-year warranty as well as a 90-day screen crack replacement warranty. And then if you order online from the Oppo Malaysia website and then go and collect at the roadshow on the first day, then you will also get a pair of Oppo Enco free TWS headphones. For the X2 Pro, you get the same freebies, but this time the first day sale is on the 21st of March instead. So the whole thing is the same. You pay 300 ringgit deposit when you order it. Then you go first day, go line up, go get the phone. You pay the remaining. You get the smartphone. You get your freebies, and you are Gucci. But yeah, that's everything you need to know about the Oppo Find X2 launch here in Malaysia, or at least the pre-order promotion, except the price. So we'll update you with the price as soon as we know lah. So stay tuned to soyachinchow.com. But yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts. What do you guys think of the Oppo Find X2 and Find X2 Pro? Are these the smartphones you're looking forward to, or did you want, or are you like me where you wanted another wacky Find X smartphone? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, but that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also you can follow us on Facebook. You can join our Facebook group RKMD, but our home will always be at soyachinchow.com. And PS, that's where you get the price information the moment we find out also. Alright, until the next video, I will see you in the next video. Bye! Hello, darkness, my old friend.